We're live.
Live.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the show. This is Jets Worldwide, aka the internet's fastest growing Jets YouTube content show, whatever you want to call it. Hi, Johnny.
Snowball. I feel like I haven't seen you since last week.
I know it was. I have to tell you something. I have an amazingly large bruise from last Friday. We'll get into that story later, but yeah, a lot to talk about. Very exciting show. We have well, you want to tell me who we have?
We got a special guest. We're gonna save it for a moment, but we actually got new stuff. Like we're trying out here. My understanding that Snowball. I think we have a merch store. Is that true?
Oh yeah, we have a merch store. Yes, if you haven't heard about it, I mean, it's all over the internet. I swear it's been like what, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. I think it was the front cover of the New York Times.
MySpace.
MySpace, right?
Yeah.
It was big on MySpace.
Zanga.
Yeah, we have shop the store, my friends, because it's just worldwide.printify.me. So if you go there, we have stuff. Yeah?
Oh yeah.
You think so?
Yes, I cannot wait. It's cool stuff inside there. Guys, check it out. You know, the show is growing. We're trying to continue to keep growing the show itself. Snowball worked very hard on it. I loved it. If you guys go on it, there's one item that I had somewhat of a say in it. And can you guys guess? If you guess on that one item, something.
Johnny will dry hump you if he meets you.
100%.
There you go. All right. You want to play our new intro?
Let's drop that mic, baby.
It's all new. Everything is new today. All right. See you in a minute. I think it's 1 minute. Bye.
Yo, we rolling deep with the Jets on the rise. A team full of dreams under these bright skies. The world is our stage. We ain't gonna hide. Green and white till we die. Jets worldwide, wide. Johnny Boy and Snowball in the zone. Yeah, we're family here, never alone. Jets worldwide, this is where we shine. A true dedication, victory's our sign. Green and white forever, we in our prime. You know we gon' ride, just give it some time. 2025, hear the crowd going wild. You know we spitting truth, nothing but style. A city that never sleeps, we going buck wild. Our hearts beat as we Jets worldwide, wide. Victory's a feeling, we won't let go.
Whew.
Oh.
Hey, major shout out to our guy E Boogie, Infrared _ Jets podcast. Guys, go check him out. He does amazing work. If you guys can't tell, getting us hyped for the season itself. Snowball, whew, that got me hyped up.
But I got to give you a lot of credit. Those are your lyrics.
I'm, once in a back in the day when I thought that I was gonna be a little bit of a something, but hey, I'm here rocking with you now, and it is what it is, So a lot of stuff happened.
Yes.
Which
There's been a lot in the news. They changed the menu at MetLife Stadium, right?
I saw that.
Isn't that like the big thing, big news, right? New stuff at MetLife Stadium. You can get tacos now. No, I don't know. Obviously, you're talking about Aaron Glenn, right?
Oh, yeah. Big time. The real Aaron.
Swinging, big swinger.
He's a big swinger.
He's swinging that stick. So I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that we need to talk about with that. We should get that out of the way, and then we should talk to our guest about it.
I think we should. I think we should bring him in.
I think so too. All the way from JetsNation.com, we have the one and only Dylan Tereman. There he is.
What's up, guys? I appreciate you guys having me on. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, it's been fun ever since we were backstage together.
100%.
Very nice. Dylan knows a lot about the New York Jets. and he knows a lot about the draft, and we're going to talk about that in a little while. But we said that we would lead off. We flipped a coin. We said draft stuff or news, and news won. So we're going to talk about the news. Everyone's been talking about it ad nauseum, but Dylan has not yet given his on-air opinion about the issues with Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Glenn, and the Jets. So, Dylan, why don't you give us your opinion about what you think about this whole debacle?
Debacle.
It's such an appropriate word, right? And I think the emphasis of which Aaron Rodgers said debacle kind of said a lot. Like it felt like he was more pushing blame off, but I just think on both sides there was a healthier way to communicate. Obviously, Rodgers is going to be salty. He traveled on his own dime and felt like he wasn't given the adequate time of his meeting with Aaron Glenn, which he didn't name by name, which is just kind of petty. But also, I think Aaron Glenn could have probably approached it in a different way too, and just instead of just leaning in and saying, "Hey, are you ready to play football?" Maybe he could have approached it in a different way. So there's a healthier way, healthier lines of communication could have been drawn. Now, if they called him over the phone and said, "Hey, we're going to let you go," we know how that would have went. Aaron Rodgers probably would have made a big stink about that as well. So they tried to do as best they could to do right by him, a guy that the organization certainly, I guess cared about in a big way, but the new regime doesn't really care about, and that's fine. So they tried to handle it with the best, respect and cordialness that they could, but it got a little ugly. And the Pat McAfee stuff, I mean, I only read the excerpts from the beat. I didn't watch the whole thing. It's getting hard to watch at that point, and especially when you're just going to pour it on the Jets. So it's a tough thing to see when you have a guy like Aaron Rodgers on your team after you've loved watching him at the Packers like I have for so long, and then he comes here and this is the end of it. So it could have ended a lot better in my opinion, but not surprised, I guess, because we know how Aaron Rodgers is, and you get cut for the first time, you want to share your thoughts. So let's just be healthier about it, but we're hopefully putting it in the rear view, and the highway looks a little bit cleaner up ahead, no congestion. So let's move on to 2025.
John?
I mean, agreed. I will have to say this, Dylan. I think the way it was handled was the right way. Rip the Band-Aid off, right? He came in I'm pretty positive, man. Like he was like, they're gonna court me. It's going to be the whole JD Saleh thing all over again. Like, please, 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 stay, come with us, or what, even though he was under contract. And look, it needed to happen. He needed to get checked, and he got checked. Aaron Glenn stated in that moment right there, this is my team. It's as simple as that. That's it. It is what it is. The page has been flipped over. We're on to Justin Fields, who's a lot younger, who's going to be able to give us another dimension that we have not had in such a long time. Look, did I want the Aaron Rodgers thing to work? 100%. I was on board with everybody. That dude coming out with that flag was so iconic, right? At that moment, just to be stripped away from us in 4 plays. Then a year later, he comes back, right? We're expecting it to be this savior that's what was supposed to come in, when the whole entire time, all we asked was for average ball, which he did give us that, but it was just everything else just crumbled at one shot, and we were expecting more and more. I wish him the best of luck wherever he goes. I truly do hope it is Pittsburgh. If it is Pittsburgh, I hope when we do play them that we dog beat the living crap out of them, because I'm not scared of them. They've played them before, and it is what it is. Like, it's over with, it's done. On to the next page. Snowball.
I'm going to differ in opinion with both of you. I believe in. I'm not saying that we should have kept him, right? Like, would it have been cool to see him come back? Yeah, it would have been cool to see him come back. But I think financially, it was the right decision. It's just, like you said, rip the Band-Aid off, right? Get rid of the expenses. But the way it was handled was kind of kind of dicky. It was kind of scumbaggy. To walk in and be like, all right, and I don't know if it was it had to be predetermined. You know what? Aaron Glenn was probably like, if he says this, I'm gonna think about it.
Yes.
And he didn't say that. And I think
No.
we were talking backstage about it before. It's negotiations. Like it's him. He's playing. You get to being the oldest person in the room, right? Here, not in the chat. I understand the chat's different. But what I'm saying is being the oldest person here, you kind of get to a certain point in your life when you kind of expect people to, I'm not going to say court you, and I'm not going to say, be all, oh my God, you have to be here and we worship you and whatever. But just again, it's a level of respect, and it was two alphas in the room. It was Alpha Aaron and Alpha Aaron, and they kind of just butted heads. Neither one wanted to budge, and that was the problem. Being the player, you're a player, right? You are and I get that Aaron Glenn is a former player. I completely understand, but now he is in a position of leadership, right? And for him to, I think the way he approached it, it was too sudden. It was too, the way it was described by Aaron Rodgers. I really don't know if that's the truth.
Correct.
That was the way he explained it. I'm not going to take it as the truth unless they, have like closed circuit TV footage of what happened. And wouldn't that be really cool to actually like see what happened in the room? Like that would have been amazing to actually be in that room and hear that what happened. But I'm telling you, like it just could have been handled a little bit different. He tipped his hat. Aaron Glenn has been tipping his hat since he got the job. We're the freaking New York Jets and we're built for this shit. And, it's whatever. And he's, he's swinging it. He's swinging it around. So consistency is key. So I hope he just keeps it up. I think he just keeps it consistent and he starts hammering other teams. And that's what I want to see. I want to see Aaron Glenn, the conqueror, Aaron Glenn, the destroyer. He's got to be my Arnold Schwarzenegger and swing the sword and kill everybody in front of him. So I hope he does it, because if he doesn't do it, I don't know, he's gonna look bad.
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
If AG takes this approach with our opponents, I would fear for everybody on our schedule. And I agree with that. So like you got to hope that consistency lasts, because as soon as, every outlet has kind of said it at this point, if you don't win after acting this, hard body and tough, it's not going to last very long. And the players are going to see right through it too. So yeah, you got to just hope that like ferocity comes out all 18 weeks of the regular season into the postseason eventually. So yeah, I'm in agreement there. The consistency is going to be key for AJ.
But let me ask you guys,
New York media is going to destroy him
if something slips up. Absolutely.
Oh my God, yes, of course.
But let me ask you guys this right now, real quick, right? So if you're a player and you see this, and this is what Aaron Rodgers is saying, in your mind, are you like, oh snap, we got a coach that he don't care who it is. He don't care of all the different accolades that you've had, all the different things. You're not bigger than the JETS. Your thoughts, guys, in regards to that?
Yeah,
Did that show that, or am I looking too much into that?
I mean, you got to hope that the players take away something about that, of like they understand where they kind of I don't want to say fall in line, but like there's a natural pecking order back established or trying to be reestablished at One Jets Drive. And the head coach is putting himself above the players, where it might not have been that way the last 2 years. We don't know. I'm not in that meeting room with them, but I don't know. I thought for him to say, I don't want players to look up at me and then look back at you in the room and get an answer from you. I don't know if that's necessarily how the players acted, but if that is the way players were acting, and he got, an account from last year of a coach that's held over on the staff, and he says, yeah, that's kind of how the meetings went. The offensive coach, Hackett or Downing, was up at the front. He'd say something, and 6 eyes went and looked at Aaron Rodgers to see what his reaction was. So if there even was a slight bit of that going on, I could totally see Aaron Glenn not wanting that, because then the players do start looking at, okay, who do I answer to? Is it my quarterback, who I'm on the field with down after down, who basically, determines if I should be on the field with him or not. We see how quickly he changes personnel based on his preferences. Or do I listen to my head coach, who is in title my head coach? So it's tough to, establish a position one way or the other. But if there is an inkling that Aaron Glenn was going to have to deal with that, I'm on board as well with, cutting ties and moving on.
And why did it have to happen now? A week before the draft. Like, why did it have to come out now? To me, it sounds like a guy that's upset, very emotional, pissed off, whining about a situation because he did not get his way in regards of what he thought was going to happen. But that's just my take. The thing
Sure.
about it too is this: at the end of the day, yes, is he a Hall of Famer? Is he gonna probably go down as probably one of the most prettiest throwers of the ball of all time? I think so, but that's Green Bay's Hall of Famer, not the Jets Hall of Famer. And that's the other concept that I think us as a whole, and we've said this multiple times, Snowball, we have as a Jets fan base, we have that, like, just that syndrome where we're battered, right? So when we get anything that's nice, we try to hold on to it as long as we can because it's our nice thing and it's been nice to me. But in the big schemes of it all, we only won 5 games. Not everything should be put on Aaron Rodgers, but he's the quarterback. At the end of the day, you fall, you get risen up, whatever, by your quarterback. And I'm sorry to say that, but it is the truth. He is the face, the franchise at that time of the New York Jets. It just didn't work.
Can I just say that you are a product of your environment, right? You've worked in business, right? I'm a school teacher. Listen, I could teach the class as best as I can. And if in my department, if I have other people in my department who suck, they're going to look at my department. They're going to say, that department sucks. He's okay, but everyone else sucks. So, like, that's the problem. It's you want to build a culture, but if the culture around you sucks and you're good, then you're going to look like you suck. That's it. And I think Aaron Rodgers looked like he sucked because he was in a department of people that sucked, and he was okay. It was 1 year off an Achilles. It was just 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Again, did I want him to come back? Yes. Do I agree that it was the right decision to get rid of him? Yes, it was the right decision to get rid of him financially. It was a money thing for me.
Right.
The player I love.
I think it's fair because he probably gave us the best chance from a quarterbacking perspective, but there's just too many other variables outside of it that don't come along with Justin Fields that I guess Jets fans can now kind of hang their hat on as like, okay, less drama, maybe a little bit less production, less flash from the quarterback position. But all in all, if it does create that culture and that, vision of sustained success, then, we'll look back at this a year from now and say, wow, we're silly for even giving this much thought because this was the right move. So I hope that's what we get, but it's all wait and see for now.
Dylan, I so hope you're right.
I mean, if Justin Fields can give us 17 throwing touchdowns and let's just say 11 rushing, are we all going to be happy with that?
Yep.
It depends if we win. That's the other part of it, right? Like, yeah, he could give me that, but if we lose games,
but that's what Aaron gave us.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
From a box score perspective, absolutely. That's fair.
Yes. Yep. Okay. So then yes and yes.
That's what I mean. So, like, but Dylan, we brought you up here because I love when you talk draft. You don't give a lot of the same stuff that essentially other individuals do, right? Which I'm not throwing any kind of slight to them or anything like that at all, right? I have a preference, just like with anybody can, right? And we wanted to do it a little bit different. I am completely mocked out. Like, I do not want to do any mocks anymore. Like, I'm out of that. I'm out of talking about the first round already. Like, it's Tyler Warren, Membu, or Genti now. Like, it is what it is at this point, right? But Mr. Snowball had a question for you. Snowball.
Yeah. So we listen. We want to talk about beyond the first round, but
Mhm.
like, okay, so if we're going to prioritize positions per round, I guess, how do you prioritize positions per round? I know it depends on how the board falls and whatever,
Yeah.
but in a perfect world where, you know, okay, um, where you get everybody that you want,
Mhm.
right? So like, let's say, okay, first round, you want X player, he's available. Second round, you want X player, he's available. Third round, X player, he's available. As we go through, how do you prioritize the positions?
I would say trenches over weapons first and foremost. So first round, I'm going offensive line or even defensive line. So I would put those two as my top priorities. I've watched enough Philadelphia Eagles football this past season to know that they win in the trenches. They have great skill position players. I'm not taking that away from them, but they have the best offensive line and probably a top 3 defensive line in the league. So that's the model that I'm going after. So
So if
we'll
I
just
if
go
I
around like
if I
sorry.
nailed you down for offense or defensive line,
Okay.
first pick, where you
Yep.
going?
Okay, so I just did like a little mini power rankings of my top 5. It's all trench players except for one. If they're all on the board, perfect world, like you said. Mason Graham is number 1. Will Campbell is number 2. Armand Membu is number 3. Shamar Stewart is number 4. And Matthew Golden is number 5. So I would prioritize plenty of trench players above weapons at 7. So I would go trenches in the first round, trenches again in the second round, depending. Like if you go D line in the first round, you definitely want to go get your tackle in the second round.
Oh, I like
Um,
that.
Okay.
then you start getting into the weapons. I would prioritize probably a third round wide receiver because I feel like you could double up in the fourth and the fifth round to get your tight ends. Glenn and I on Jet Nation last Wednesday, 2 days ago, did a 7-round mock draft, and we didn't touch tight end until the fifth round, and we came away with, I believe, Conyers and Urasek from Georgia, and I was very pleased with that. I know it's not sexy and it's not top line, and you're not going to have the best tight end room in the NFL, but I don't think you need to reach for that. And you're probably not even going to achieve that in this draft class, even if you did take a Tyler Warren at the top. So prioritizing tight end later on, early day 3. And then with those double fifths and sixths, I'm just trying to snag as many safeties, linebackers, corners, depth wide receivers as I can because we only have, I believe, 8 picks right now. I don't know if they're going to trade down and try to get to double digits. I know Rick Spielman is a huge advocate of trying to get double digit picks. In his time with Minnesota, almost every year he had 10 to 12 picks. So maybe they do trade down and try to get more. But that's where I attack safety, linebacker, depth corner, depth receiver, and then you can come back and double dip at defensive tackle if you want to.
I love that. Sign me up for that all day because I'm all about building the wall on both sides.
Mhm.
It is what it is. Like, I mean, you gave the perfect example on what the Eagles did, right? You saw it. They let go of Becton, and they're still gonna be okay this
Yeah.
upcoming year itself as well.
Is there a
And
statistic? Do you think there's a statistic out there? How many first downs did the Eagles make from the tush push? Like, is there a statistic where that's like what percentage of their fourth down conversions were made with that play?
Yeah, somebody did the data set for it, and it wasn't as shocking as I was expecting. And it was somebody who was probably advocating for Saquon Barkley in fantasy, more so than it was like actual football stuff. But I don't think it was. They were obviously the leader in the tush push, but I don't think it was like as egregious as it did because it seemed like they ran it 16 times a game, but then you look in the box score play to play and it's like, okay, maybe they ran it 4 times, but it feels like every time they run it, it's like the 12th time they ran it that game.
But it works
Exactly. Yeah.
every
And that's why
time.
they're
It
trying to
works,
ban it.
right? I don't think that. Well, let's talk about that for a second. You think they're going to ban it?
I
Can they
hope
ban
not.
it? Can they ban a play?
Well, I mean, I've heard, I think it was Robbie Sabo, who, I mean, he's obviously a little bit older than me. So he's been around when the rule was you couldn't push your offensive player. I think it was 2004, 2005 that rule changed. So I was like very young, but I just wouldn't have changed the rule to make it so you could push your offensive player forward. I don't understand why we needed to put that in, because now you get the exploitations of the rule and now people don't want it anymore. So I don't know if they are able to revert back. They still need, I think, 8 teams to vote yes on it. They had about half the league and they need 3/4. So I don't know if you ever get that, just due to the amount of offensive coaches that could utilize it one day that are like, why would I hamstring myself and take a play out of my playbook that we could use in a crucial situation. So I don't know. I don't think it ever gets revoked unless the Eagles run it 4 times a quarter and it really starts becoming abused.
Or other teams start to use it.
Yeah, or once other teams figure it out and then the Eagles get mad at yeah.
Right, exactly. And then there's pushback.
So Dylan, so you said essentially your first 2 picks, you're going line.
Yep.
Right. So I think it's safe to say your main priority is build the wall.
100%.
Okay. So now we've built the wall. What is the next position that you would like to go ahead and have?
It's got to be wide receiver to me. I don't know if the Jets feel the same way as me. Perhaps they could even think safety is that third or 2B position to attack. I would go wide receiver, in my opinion. I think that's kind of the sweet spot for me. I know Isaiah Bond had just gotten potentially, so there's some allegations about him. He had to deal with some, legal issues, and I don't know the full extent of those things. But when I just watch him on tape, I like the value of him in the 3rd round, sometimes over Matthew Golden in the 1st round. I know he has some concentration drop issues. But if you're just talking about the value, yeah, I'd take a guy who runs a 4.39 in the 3rd round over the guy who ran a 4.29 but doesn't play like 4.29 in the 1st round. And it's an intriguing struggle with those 2 specifically for me. I started watching the Iowa State guys, Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins, and I'm kind of coming away with the same thing. I'd rather take Jalen Noel in the early 3rd than I would Jaden Higgins in the early 2nd. Maybe that's not the consensus of everybody, but I do tend to sway towards the smaller, shiftier slot guys. So Jaden Higgins at 6'3" is not necessarily my flavor at wide receiver, although I think he complements Garrett well. So there's plenty of guys like in that range. You have Trey Harris from Ole Miss. He at least made watching Jackson Dart somewhat fun when he was able to make his acrobatic catches, because I killed myself watching Jackson Dart. I watched probably like 8 games in the course of a week of Jackson Dart, and I was just so out on him. Not that he's a bad player or anything. I couldn't get with it. So Trey Harris made that at least a little bit fun. And then you have
What didn't you like about Dart? What didn't you like about Dart?
What was it? The Kentucky game and the South Carolina game. It was the first half. I believe he was winning in both scenarios, and it's the 2nd quarter and he's under so much pressure, he's throwing and ducking. Like he's doing I can't get hit, so I just got to throw it. And that immediately is the biggest red flag for a quarterback for me. If you're not able to stand in the pocket, which he can stand in the pocket, but after he gets hit a couple times, his cage is a little rattled. He's throwing it and kind of ducking out of the frame to not absorb as much of the hit. So that to me was a little bad. His footwork in the pocket and just like true dropbacks, to me, it was a little wonky. His top half isn't mirroring his bottom half. His feet are pointed one way, but his arm motions are throwing like he's throwing to 2 o'clock, but he's aiming at 11 o'clock. So just little things like that I didn't see out of a guy like Will Howard, so to speak. And like, I like Will Howard a lot because he has all the mechanics. He's the winning abilities. So like, I see everybody's a Will Howard fan on this
I have been screaming Will Howard's name for like a year and a half. And
I'm so worried the Raiders are going to take him a little too early for my liking. But like, dude, 73, I could justify Will Howard 100%. So like, the conversation does open up in the 3rd round, but I think it's wide receiver for me.
So, so Dylan, I've been an individual that's been pretty much pounding the table that I would be fine with us not taking a quarterback this upcoming draft, right? But if I had a quarterback, there were 2 quarterbacks for myself that I would like to take a chance on, which it is Howard and Riley Leonard. A lot of people were giving me a whole bunch of crap in regards to Riley Leonard because they're like, wait, what? He don't have the arm, blah, 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 and all this stuff like that, which to me, I think he does. I think he's a perfect game manager that would succeed in the NFL if given the opportunity and put in the right situation. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, environment is a huge thing for me. I'm a big listener of the Draft Dudes podcast. It's Kyle Krabs and Joe Marino, and they do a quarterback rookie environment uh, exercise every year with the incoming rookie class, and they grade the environment of all these guys coming in. And there's guys that are set up for a major success, like Trey Lance, that don't pan out. And then there's guys, like Trevor Lawrence, who was in a really good situation, although the coaching ended up being a disaster. And again, it's not really working out. So you just never know until you get the guy in the environment, right? Riley Leonard, I believe Will Parkinson, who I respect his opinion a lot in Jet circles. I mean, he loves Riley Leonard. I was talking to him at the Senior Bowl about him. And it's kind of the same thing with Justin Fields, right? Like if you get a coach who can identify his strengths and say, hey, we're going to go let him play quarterback, but we're not going to, take away his athleticism and his running ability. We're going to couple that with his ability to throw the ball and become a better quarterback passing the ball. So I'm cool with it. I haven't done enough tape study on it. I want to watch the Gruden camp on Riley Leonard because I feel like I was more justified in my opinions on Will Howard after I watched that video. So Riley Leonard is he's just a smart kid. I mean, Notre Dame, you got to have a level of intelligence for them to even look at you. So I'm cool with it. But like at what point in the draft? I'm sure you're talking a day 3, swing on Riley Leonard. I'm not talking about a round 3 or round 4 projection on him. So yeah, I'm cool with that. But dude, Will Howard, man, I'm going to put out a video on JetNation this weekend about Will Howard and he is the winner that AG keeps talking about, in my opinion. You go win the Big 12 at K-State, you go win the Natty in Ohio State, and I don't know, man.
King.
Too much to like about him.
He's never going to have to pay for anything in Ohio. Never, ever again.
So I like that we were handling this organically. This is a good conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going. What were we going to say?
I was going to say, and then you add in the fact that, and I learned this on Gruden's camp, he had 4 rushing touchdowns of 69 or more yards, 69, 70, 71, and 80-yard rushing touchdowns. Some at K-State. I think they were all at K-State, to be honest, but shows he has the athleticism. So if you're going to get a guy who mirrors your starting quarterback in terms of stylistically and schematically, so you don't have to Joe Flacco, Lamar Jackson, this whole thing, if your quarterback goes down, Will Howard still fits that mold, in my opinion, where he has the athleticism to make it work. He's not Justin Fields with his legs, but 3rd and 8, man, he could run a QB power. You get a couple pullers, you get AVT, and whoever your right tackle is pulling on a QB counter, and you can pick up 8 yards with Will Howard. Not a problem at all.
I'm putting you big screen because I like your big talk, because this you speak what's in my head. And my next question is though, like, is he really that good though? Is Will Howard really that good? Is he really? I
don't think anybody's really that good in this class. Like, I love Cam Ward, but like, is he even really that good? So like, it's tough because
comparison wise, are we talking about comparison like Will Howard to the rest of the draft class, or is it Will Howard against like other drafted quarterbacks in the past? Like, what's the barometer on this guy?
People aren't going to like this, but I would say it could be like first year Jalen Hurts in the Eagles. Like, they didn't use him to the best of his ability. He wasn't the best quarterback. He probably was fringe starter at best in those moments when he was kind of coming in spot duty for Carson Wentz. But I don't know, man. There's just something about him. He's a little bit bigger than Jalen Hurts, obviously. But if that's what you're going to get out of him, and then he just grooms into a better quarterback year 2, year 3, when Justin Fields potentially isn't here, I think that's what you want to look for in this draft class. Cam Ward's probably the only day 1 starter, in my opinion. Like, camp, no competition. He's probably the only one I would lean to just say, here are the keys. I couldn't say that for Shedeur. I couldn't say that for Jackson Dart. I can't say that for Will or Ewers, any of the other guys, McCord. I can't say that, Milrow especially. So it's going to be one of those, you won't know what you have until it's either too late or you strike gold. So it's not like, I don't know. It's a tough class for me with the quarterbacks. There's no like top line guy.
I did watch the Gruden McCord video,
Okay.
and
Yeah, the McCord one was actually good. I like the McCord one. That he and Will Howard are the two that I've
Will
watched so
Howard had
far.
I watched those two, and for me, McCord, either looks at his phone too much, or he's typing, or I don't know what he's doing. But if you watch his stature when he stands in the pocket, he looks like a Neanderthal. Like
Mhm.
his head is forward.
McCord, you're saying?
McCord, and
Yeah, yeah.
when he passes the ball, he's hunched over forward as he's throwing. So
Mhm.
like I don't know if that's taking power away from him, but I was just watching passes and the way he maneuvers in the pocket, and that stature for him to like lean forward, it was just awkward. It was weird, and it like limits his vision when he looks
Mhm.
down the field. So like I don't know. I just like
I didn't catch that, so that's actually really good, and I'll go back. But it definitely wouldn't help your mechanics if you're
no
leaning more forward in your throws. Like you're probably losing velocity, you're losing air travel distance, so you're losing a lot of things when you're not upright, sturdy, throwing
right
from a
because
nice sturdy base.
you
So
watch his body, and as he does have a very quick release,
yeah,
but he's leaning forward and he's doing it this way, and it's like
right.
a lot of
The
pushing
one
the
thing I
ball instead of
Y
throwing.
yes, exactly. The one thing I noticed about him in that video is he didn't make a lot of eye contact with the guys in the huddle,
Right.
even when he was breaking down the huddle, and I
Mhm.
do think that's important because you can have the confidence to be a leader of men, but if you get in the huddle and you're not making eye contact, and Gruden even asked him, he's like, "Well, who are you looking at when you're doing this?" And he's like, "Okay, when I say the protection, I'm talking to the O-line, then I say this to the Y, this to the Z." And I was like, "But you weren't looking at them when you just said that." So you have to practice eye contact and knowing like, okay, Snowball, you're running the spot route. Johnny Boy, you're running the sail route. Like I need focus and I need to know everybody's on the same page. So like little things like that go into the quarterbacking position that nobody ever knows about
Yeah.
all come into play there. And when you see a guy in like that raw mode there, learning, installing, and then going out on the practice field and doing it with guys he's never met before, you do want to see a little bit more, I guess leadership qualities, although I do think he's full of leadership.
Yeah. I just thought Howard had more of it when he was doing it.
Absolutely.
And I love the
He
amount of
felt confident.
information. Yeah, I love the amount of information that Gruden throws at them,
Mhm.
and how they have to juggle it as they're like, he's like, okay, now run this way and call this play and screaming out things. And like they're sitting there like balancing like 15 different plates on, 14 different sticks. And it's
Yeah.
pretty cool to watch. It is pretty cool
It
to watch.
shows that not everybody can be a quarterback in this world, and it takes
I
a
could
lot more
never be
than
a
just a
freaking quarter.
strong arm. Hell no.
Hell no. I could
Hell no.
never do that. And then to like manipulate a defense, not only call plays, but manipulate a defense and then go through like three reads.
Yeah, yeah.
It is a skill and a half.
And I'm glad you brought that up, full field reads, because Gruden alluded to several times where a lot of these quarterbacks are doing full field reads. And I think, normal guys like, you or I who are just watching quarterbacks at home who don't know offenses and their schemes in and out, like it's hard to, you follow their helmet to see if they're going 1, 2, 3, left to right to left, whatever, but you don't know if they're fully going through a read progression. And for Gruden to like highlight multiple plays for these quarterbacks doing it, it just shows that they're more NFL ready than I think a lot of us are giving them credit for.
True. Very true.
So Dylan, so we hit a little bit in regards to a couple of the DTs, the offensive tackles,
Mm-hmm.
but we kind of didn't really like touch in regards to those offensive tackles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they might. Is there a hole at right tackle? And if there is, right, other than Membu, because first round is out of the question,
Mm-hmm.
what other right tackles are there for us to potentially get that could be a plug and play player?
Okay, so if you're talking specifically plug and play, like they're going to come and push Jukes Okorafor for being a starter right out the gates, or at least you would have to say by maybe the trade deadline of the 2025 season, they're being at least thought about as offensive tackle or right tackle one. Obviously, you have like Josh Connerly, who's probably unlikely to fall out of the first round, but that's a guy who, if he's there in the second round, would run the card up. Ariante Ursary, I'm sure he's a very popular pick with Jets fans, but I just got done watching his tape. I only watched 2 games because now I'm kind of crunching for as many grades as I can. he gets a high 2 for me. Like if he's there even in like the late 30s, I would consider trading up depending on what you did in round 1 for him. Then you have Charles Grant, the guy from William and Mary, and like you're never going to find William and Mary tape unless you're like from the school. So it's very hard to watch him. But the highlights I've seen of him, I mean, I know what's his name, the 4th rounder that we got, Cam Clark, a couple years ago. Everybody was really hyped for him. This would be like Cam Clark, but like actual potential to make noise in the league right away. And it was an unfortunate event that happened to Clark, obviously. But I like Charles Grant. This is probably a 3rd round guy. Emory Jones from LSU. He's a little rough for me, but he does just have super length, 34.25-inch arms. He's a right tackle only at LSU. And when they had Miles Frazier at the Senior Bowl, he played right tackle instead of Emory Jones. So they moved a guard over to tackle instead of Jones. So not the best look, but this is a dog, dude. He will maul you until the echo of the whistle and then still get in your face. And then there's times where that aggressiveness gets the better of him and he lunges and reaches and you can get around him really easy. But I'd much rather have to say, all right, let's rein it in a little bit on this drive than have to kick you in the ass and say, dude, you got to get back out to your spot. Kick step a little bit faster. Like he has all that. He just needs to harness it and rein it in a little bit. So Emory Jones from LSU is a good one. Marcus Mbow, I think he was the left tackle at Purdue, but I believe he's projected to be more of a right tackle or a guard. Probably a guy who's falling. Maybe he's a 2nd round guy, but if he's there in the 3rd round, I would love him in that range too. And Wyatt Milam from West Virginia. He played tackle at West Virginia, but throughout this entire process, a lot of teams have been telling him he's a guard. So he's working more at becoming a guard, but he's 6'4" or 6'6" and 1/2 inch, 313 pounds, 32 and an eighth arm. So not the best arm length, but I just felt like if you go and put on his Penn State tape against Abdul Carter, he does a really good job against Abdul Carter. So he had his ups and his downs. Maybe if he does kick into guard, it wouldn't be a benefit to the Jets at tackle, but any of these guys that are tackles that could be viewed as guard, like even the Will Campbells of the world, if you think he's a tackle, please play him at tackle and let him fail forward. And then if you can kick him inside the guard, if he's failing at tackle, don't just Peter Skoronsky the guy and kick him into left guard and say, this is your spot. We're not even going to try you at tackle, because Skoronsky could have been a really good guard. Obviously now they have, what's that guy's name that they got instead? But, the Titans, J.C. Latham, they got another tackle instead, but they got a guy that they thought was a tackle, moved him to guard, and then had to go pick up another tackle anyway. So I'm always for trying the premium position before the non-premium position. And then the last guy I'll throw out is obviously Ozzie Trapillo from Boston College. Everybody's talked about him, so I wanted to save him for last. But again, another guy who's probably plug and play. Okay, here, I'll throw one more. Cam Williams from Texas. He played opposite Calvin Banks, so he was the right tackle at Texas. Again, give me a guy in the 4th round like him over Calvin Banks in the 1st round. I feel like the value you're getting is just way ahead of like a Calvin Banks, I mean, in a trade down situation. But still, I would take the guy who was less in the spotlight from Texas, both with Bond and Cam Williams. So plenty of names, but how many of them are going to make it to 42 and 73, where you really got to finesse the board if you don't go offensive tackle at 7?
So, all right, my bad.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to say, what position do you think has the most depth in the draft?
Probably defensive line. I would say tackle over edge on defensive line, but it's got to be the defensive line as a whole. I mean, Daniel Jeremiah has 24 draftable grades on defensive tackles. Last year, I think he had 12, or like it was like 24 in his top 150 or whatever it is. So the numbers are just staggering for that. I'm a huge advocate for defensive tackle, both Mason Graham at 7. If you want to trade down and go get Kenneth Grant, I'm cool with that too. And in our mock draft on Wednesday, we had a Darius Alexander slip to us from Toledo, who, I mean, I would love to see him on the Eagles and be the Milton Williams replacement, but I also wouldn't be mad if we got a Milton Williams type of defensive tackle. So yeah, I would say defensive tackle almost far and away is the deepest one for me.
So we hit on those, right? And I think one of the other position that's not really being talked about as much, and I think it's a position of big need, strong safety. We have a
Mhm,
free safety in Cisco. Tony Adams, we don't really know what he's going to be in the system, but they kept him, right?
mhm.
The safety rooms that are out there. Let's talk about the safety. What are some guys that you have out there that you think could potentially be a plug and play player?
Dude, give me Nicky Manwari. I know you said strong safety, and he's a little bit more of a versatile guy, but he can come down and play in the box, and he will give you that like Kyle Hamilton-esque defensive chess piece, in my opinion. At least he's somebody who's built in a lab at 6'3", 220, and you run a
Oof.
4.38. Like it just doesn't make sense. So if you traded down, like say, I don't know, Cincinnati at 17 or Atlanta at 15, if you want to believe those rumors, and they want to trade us assets to come up to 7, I'm totally cool with Nicky Manwari wherever we trade back in the first round. I mean, I would even do it if you swapped picks with San Francisco and you're picking 11, because I think the Dolphins could pick him at 13 with some of their holes that they have, but now they have just a ton of holes. So that's the day one guy for me. Andrew Makuba from Texas again. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a big Texas guy. He's the day 2 guy for me. He's the more of the free safety again because he's going to take the ball away on the back end, but we need that too. Like I don't want to just like pigeonhole us to just strong safety, because although Cisco is a very good free safety, I don't think Tony Adams is a great strong safety, and I mean he can play free safety better than I think he plays strong. So
Agreed.
we kind of need more of a versatile guy there. So Makuba in the second or third round for me. I got to get to the Penn State guys and put a grade on them, but Jalen Reed and Kevin Winston Jr., these guys are going to go day 2. I'm doing Jake's day 2 show Friday night with him. So I'll be on the panel all 4 hours, and I expect both these guys to go. There's no way that they're not top 100 players in this class, at least in my opinion. So those are the day 2 guys for me. And then the day 3 guys, I was just sent a video. My guy Gus Toon, shout out Gus if you're listening. Keaton Crawford from Nevada. He was another guy. He's got the hard hitting, strong safety traits, in my opinion. He ran a 4.41 at the combine, a 4.03 short shuttle, which was far and away the fastest in the group by 0.2 of a second faster than the next guy. So he's just an explosive guy. He almost jumped 11 feet in the broad, 41 and a half inches in the vert. Geez, as I'm looking at these numbers, he is a
Wow,
combine
that's insane.
warrior.
So what does that mean, right? I'm an idiot. I have no idea what this means at all. Break it down for me real quick, Dylan, if you can.
Yeah, man. If you got the athleticism, that to me is the uncoachables, the traits that you can't be taught, so to speak. Like you and I aren't jumping any higher. We can train and we could jump a couple extra inches, but we're not naturally jumping 30 plus inches. So when these guys have that ability, like that uncoachableness to them, that puts them higher on my board. That raw athletic score, that RAS that everybody loves to talk about. I'm not a Joe Douglas, only draft high RAS guys, but they do get prioritized by me because when you fall back on it, if you can't put 2 and 2 together on tape, you haven't seen enough of a data set from a guy. You have to piece in with the analytics and the raw numbers and what the athleticism tells you. So a guy like Keaton Crawford, I just learned about him this morning, but day 3 player, in my opinion, based on, everything I've tried to read up about him. But then you add in the fact that he is a combine warrior, and now he's maybe a 5th or a late 4th round pick instead of a 6th round pick. Whereas a guy like Craig Woodson from California, he didn't really test, but he ran a 4.45. That was the only thing he did, was a 4.45. It's a middling run for a safety. But then you couple it on the back end with this film, and he's probably a day 3 guy who's not really moving up the board too far. So that's where you get the differentiators in athleticism for me. Like a guy like Crawford, I'd prioritize over Woodson, even if Woodson's tape was slightly better because of the uncoachable factors.
So then let me say this: we had a question that I starred from the chat. Membu ran a 4.9 at 330 pounds.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It means he is quick,
It's a
try
truck.
faster than all of us on this show. And if he was barreling down on us, we'd be running for our lives. You said, 4.91, second fastest combine 40 time of the offensive line group. But when you look at the slowest guy, the guy from South Carolina, Torricelli Simpkins, he ran a 4.54 or a 5.45. Excuse me. Jeez, I got that completely backwards. A 5.45, and he ran a 4.91. That's 0.6 of a second faster. People don't realize that 0.6 of a second in NFL is like 3 seconds in real life. So that's the differentiator there for me. I mean, anybody who's that big, moving that fast, you gotta look at them. They move the needle for you. His tape also moves the needle. It shows he can move quickly backwards. He can also move quickly forwards. His kick step to get back to that landmark to help with those speed rushers and really, cut off the edge. I do think that it shows, and I'm not surprised. I was a little bit, shocked 4.91 at the sticker, the sticker shock a little bit, but everything else he did at the combine was pretty much top of the class. 34-inch vert was top 3, 31 reps at the combine. That was tied for first. A 9.7-inch broad. I mean, that's also top of the class. Most guys are jumping in the 8s. So those athletic differentiators for Membu are the reason why he's being vaulted up so high, but his tape kind of backs it up too, where some of these guys that are really good athletes, their tape doesn't necessarily back it up. Like Jonas Savanaia from Arizona, he ran a 4.95. He's right behind Membu, and he jumped sub 9 feet, and he jumped sub 30 inches in the vert. So like, his athletic differentiator is going to be the reason why he's probably a day 2 convert to guard, where Membu, his athleticism and his, abilities to separate are the reasons why he's going to be a top line tackle.
Do they really need to measure the vertical for an offensive lineman, though? Like,
yes,
it's not necessary.
It's so important. No,
Why
no,
is that
it's not important.
What I'm saying is, like, who cares what the guy's vertical jump is? Although I can't jump 14 inches off the ground, so it doesn't matter. But like, here's a guy who's what, 300 pounds?
Yeah,
330.
330, and he's jumping how far off the ground?
34 inches.
That's fucking ridiculous. Like, these are like beasts. Like, I can't believe this. That is insane. It's insanity. I don't know, Johnny, what's your vertical?
It used to be really good. Like, I'm like what, 5'11", I'm 5'11", man, and I used to be able to dunk. Now that is not happening. 80s
cookies, man. That's all I'm dunking. It's cookies.
That's not happening. I used to have hops, but not. That's crazy. That's a fridge.
Yeah,
running at you
right
that fast. Like that's a fridge coming at you. Like that's
incredible.
Insane. Dylan, I know we had you for a few moments. Are you still good or?
Yeah, I can do one more question if you got one more. I know you.
Right,
I know you're probably. I can feel it. You got one more on you.
Somebody had one in the chat, right?
I do. Okay. So like it's another one, right? Another position of need. Other than the positions we already said, what is a position of need that is not really being talked about, that it's critical to the Jets to be able to go in and succeed?
That we haven't talked about? I mean, we didn't talk about the tight end room in depth, so I guess I would say tight end of all the positions we haven't talked about. And again, this is a position you're probably going to have to double up at. Jeremy Ruckert and Stone Smart don't really they don't have me feeling nicey. So I don't know how much stock I'm putting into. Yeah, I don't know how much stock I'm putting into those two as my top line guys on the depth chart. So I'm looking at, 3rd to 6th round with the tight ends that I would probably attack heavily in the 4th and 5th. But if there's a guy sitting there in the 3rd round that you didn't expect, maybe Elijah Arroyo slips from Miami, who's more of the athletic F, so the Stone Smart type of tight end where he's going to play like your power slot. He's not really – he'll put his hand in the dirt and he'll inline block, but that's not what you're asking him to do primarily. Or like a Harold Fannin from Bowling Green, again, another athletic F, not your inline Y. So those are the guys to me that might be there in day 3. But if you're prioritizing a guy who wants to put his hand in the dirt, who wants to get nasty, who wants to displace run defenders out of their lanes – you probably got to look on day 4 and past that. Like Jackson Hawes is a big one from Georgia Tech, in my opinion. He's probably one of the best blockers in the class. Somebody in the chat mentioned Gunnar Helm. I was watching Gunnar Helm and the 2 Texas wide receivers a couple days ago, and Yeah, I came away thrilled. Like if you got Matthew Golden in a trade down and Gunnar Helm in the 4th round at 110, dude, I don't know how you could complain. So like I'm all for, the day 3, round 4, round 5 guys. Helm is a big one. Maliki Matavo from UCLA. He's a guy who was at the Senior Bowl. 6'5", 5'8", 260 pounds. So you just hear that and you think, oh, he's your aggressive blocking type. But you get him out in space and he can catch the ball and make things work. So I'm leaning more toward the versatile types later on in the rounds, more so than like the Colston Lovelands that are more of the athletic route runner types, which there's a role for them in the NFL. But I think if we're going to complete this run centric, let's utilize all the running backs in our backfield, let's go get a guy who's more versatile. So Moiki Matavo to me fits that bill. And that's why I would lean Tyler Warren over Loveland if they went at the top and got a tight end. But I read my top 5 to you guys before. Tyler Warren was not on it. And I don't even know if he'd be 6th at this point. Like, it's not to say I hate him. It's just he has a fringe first-round grade for me. 85 and above is the first-round grade for me, and he graded out at an 85, same as Shadur Sanders. So put in positional value, and Shadur Sanders is going to, be higher on my big board than Tyler Warren. And if it was honestly down to those two people, why wouldn't I take Shadur Sanders and the chance to have a future quarterback? So those are the compelling arguments for me. But give me a guy in the 4th or 5th round, even the 6th round, dude. You can get, like I said, Ben Urasek from Georgia, kind of overshadowed by Brock Bowers a little bit, and then didn't have the season production wise that everybody thought he would coming out of a good program like Georgia. But to me, that just shows that there's untapped potential with him. And if you're getting him on day 3, I'm totally fine with it.
Johnny, where'd you get this guy from? He's
Ladies,
talking logically. He's talking logically. And
Ladies,
we don't speak logic.
ladies and gentlemen, Dylan Tereman.
Tereman from
I
JetsNation.
My man just spit. He was preaching. He was giving it to everybody. Like,
You should have been organ music in back of him.
Whew, Dylan, I've been somebody that I've been saying, do I like Tyler Warren? Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Do I think he's going to be good? I can see it, yes. But do I value that tight end position at 7? I do not.
Right.
I'd rather us get somebody else that I would feel like would make more of a bigger of a need, I guess, maybe I could say, in a Membu, right? Or get me another defensive tackle, or let's go ahead and see if Sanders is there and you get your Saints, or you get somebody that is willing to trade with us and then we get pushed back. Last question. How far back is too far back for you to trade in the first round?
Too far? I mean, Pittsburgh is probably the fringe. The only reason I say Pittsburgh, because I think there's a realistic need for them to come up for the Shadur Sanders of the world and jump the Saints. So I'm cool going back to 21. Anything outside of that, I mean, yes, you're getting a great return. Don't get me wrong. It's just I would like to stay in the top 15 to 22 picks in this draft. I think that's really the sweet spot of this draft. Outside the blue chip guys, which there's maybe only 5 or 6 of them, number 7 to number 25 on people's big boards are going to be so close, and it's just going to be splitting hairs. So I want to be in that sweet spot, that little pocket of the first round. You start getting into the late first round and you don't have a first round grade on that guy anymore. So most draft classes have 14, 16, maybe 18 in a really good class of true first round grades, but there's 32 picks in the first round. So if you don't see the guy with the first round grade, you're more incentivized to just keep trading back till the value fits. So to me, finding that sweet spot of like Atlanta to 15 or Pittsburgh to 21, that would be the sweet spot for me, because you're probably getting a future 2, maybe even a 3+ from this current draft to move out. So I'm all for it. And then if there's a quarterback there, yeah, you're just sweetening the pot, incentivizing with more day 3 assets for them to give to you. And then you get your 10, 11, 12 draft picks, and you can really swing on those depth players and the positions we talked about.
You're just talking about all these different, like, what does San Francisco need? They're at 11. Right?
Membu.
They need Membu. You think they need Membu?
I would trade out to 11. If they said, "Hey, I want Membu," I would trade out and I would see what happens at 11, and I would just play the board that way. You're probably getting only a 3, maybe a 3 and a 6 to move out to 11, but I would take whatever you take at 11 plus the 3 and the 6. I'm sure sounds a lot better than just Armand Membu.
Who's the biggest quarterback needy team in back of us?
Well, Johnny said the Saints at 9,
yeah.
the Steelers at 21. I don't think
San
Minnesota
Francisco needs a quarterback.
They would probably try to do the let's get cute on day 2 or day 3 route again, especially coming out of the Brock Purdy experience and the Trey Lance experience. I don't think they're ready to commit heavy assets into the position, but also Brock Purdy needs a new contract.
Yeah.
So unless they're willing to pay him to be, a top 5 quarterback in the league, it's definitely going to come into question. Maybe they trade up in the second round for a guy who slides. But then again, like, who is that? Is that Milrow? And they're going to go with a traits-based guy, limited, skill set, but has a big arm, kind of the Trey Lance all over again thing. And they're a tough one, but I could see it. I could for sure see that.
Well, Will Howard wore red and white, so you never know.
Man. He's going to be a Raider on day 2. That's my hot take, and we can clip it if it doesn't happen. Day 2, I think the Raiders take him. Chip Kelly's their offensive coordinator. Pete Carroll, he likes winners at quarterback too. So I don't know. I could just see that being too much of a fit where they reach on him and take him around earlier than people think.
Hot take. If Sanders keeps falling, I see the Dolphins getting him. I know it's crazy of me to say that. You got a guy, and I can never pronounce his name over there, but you guys know who I'm talking about. Mr. Tua. Maka, whatever, right? He's a concussion away from that being it. And 100%. At that point, how many games did they lose without him being at the back? So
wait, they got Zach Wilson as their backup. What are you talking about, man? Hold on. They're gonna win 9 games with their backup.
Zach attack.
Dylan,
hey, we made it an hour before I mentioned Zach. Now you guys can kick me off.
Dylan, this was a pleasure, man. Dylan, where can everybody catch your work? Please plug it in. You are an individual that does great work. I really look forward to seeing you continue to keep succeeding. I mean, you've been to the Senior Bowl now back-to-back, if I'm not mistaken, right? Back-to-back.
There's 4 of these up here. There's 4 of these up here.
There's 4 of those over there.
I'm a grizzled vet. Yep.
He knows what he's talking about and everything.
Yeah.
But, Dylan, where can everybody catch you on?
Absolutely. You can catch me JetsNation, social media, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. We used to have a Facebook. I think we still do. I know we used to have a MySpace because we're that old. We're 20 years old now, JetsNation. You can catch me directly at Tereman as you see it on your screen here on YouTube. I'll be putting out more content, probably a couple quarterback videos. Like I teased the Will Howard. I'll do one on Jalen Milrow, just potential guys that the Jets could take and how I see them fitting in the class. And then check out Glenn and I on JetNation Live. He's my co-host. I love chopping up with Glenn. He and I have been doing this for about 3 or 4 years now on the YouTube scene. So JetNation's YouTube, that's where we're at. Probably once a week, Wednesdays or Thursdays usually. And Snowball, Johnny, you guys are awesome. I appreciate this. This was great.
Yeah, we loved having you on. This is, we should do this more often.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can break down the picks after we already know who they get. I'll come back and give you my thoughts.
You know what? That would be awesome. And maybe we could get your co-host on here as well. And we'll do a whole Jet Nation, Jets Worldwide team up. Let's go to get it together, man. Dude, I love the work you do. I mean, you've been on the Jake show. We've seen you on there, but not just Jake, on a whole bunch of other shows too that I've seen you on. So big shout out to you, Dylan. Please, everybody go check my man out. He is doing great work. He had Snowball speechless. All right, let's just say that, because nobody not know what to say after that. But
no way, no how.
High praise. I appreciate that, guys. Yeah, I'm on Buffalo's show Mondays. I'm on Jake's show Tuesday afternoons now. So I'll be doing Jake's show Friday night. So come check us out for the draft. That'll be a lot of fun.
Oh, all right. There go my plans for Friday night. All right. Anyway, Dylan, thank you so much for coming on, and best of everything to you. And hopefully everything that you said tonight pans out for the Jets.
Awesome. I appreciate it, guys. Yeah, I hope so too. I hope I can rub the crystal ball just enough to get us some good luck, right?
All right, go rub
Thanks,
some
guys.
balls. Bye.
Yep.
Thank you.
Later, Dylan.
All right.
Yo, how awesome was that, man?
I love Dylan Tereman.
Dude.
I had never met him. I still never met him in person, but I've met him here.
Yeah.
He's awesome. Very
He killed it, man. Like, it was completely different, right? He said, I like the trenches. The trenches
Yeah.
is what I want to build first.
right.
And then possibly a weapon and all that, because he feels like the Jets don't value wide receivers.
Yeah, I'm just stupid. I'm just I'm a draft with my heart type of guy. But Johnny, I can't go no further without mentioning some of these things. So first of all, people should like this video and they should subscribe to our channel. We have I spoke to Mrs. Snowball before the show started, and she goes, Mr. Snowball, you have to have goals. And I said, okay, I have goals. And she said, 250 followers by a certain amount of time. So by, I don't know, let's put a time limit on it, Johnny boy.
By the beginning of the season.
250. Now I want more by the beginning of the season.
Okay.
But 250 followers by, all right, we're going into May, June. Yeah, by the 4th of July. By the 4th of July, 250 followers by the 4th of July. All right.
May the 4th be with you.
We are making it a goal that we will have that many halfway home at that point. We need to get monetized, my friend. So the bills are stacking up and the pockets are getting very, very light. So we need to get people. So if you're in the chat right now, if you have friends who have not subscribed to our channel, if you have relatives who have not subscribed to our channel, if you have an extra YouTube account that you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do it. And hit the like button, because that lets people know that we're live, we're on the air, we can get more people in here. We're trying to get better talent. Johnny Boy is our talent scout. He has been killing it the past month with all the people that he has brought onto the show. It has been incredible. So we love sharing the knowledge with you guys. We love bringing you guys onto the show. So that is a big thing. The other thing we wanted to mention, Johnny Boy, right? We spent a long time doing this. We have a merch store. So
check it out.
Johnny has been basically the inspirator, the inspirationist, the inspirationalist for a lot of the products that we have put out on the merch store. I have been putting things up there. So we have so many things, Johnny. We have so many products. It's at jetsworldwide.printify.me. We have people in the chat who have been there already. FL Phil 98 has already been to the store and made a purchase. Jake Asman was our first customer in the Jets Worldwide merch store, and Chef Kevin Gilbert was also a customer of ours, which leads me to the next statement that I wanted to make. We have our, it seems like Johnny Boy, it seems like every channel has a raffle now, right? We have this signed helmet and these signed photos and these signed jerseys and, cleats from the Super Bowl III and all this stuff. Well, like we just mentioned, we're really not cash heavy.
No,
So
we're poor. Help us.
So I went for the nicest thing that I could find within our budget. And we have the replica. This is too bright. We have the replica Super Bowl ring, Super Bowl III. That is up for grabs. We are having a raffle. And what I haven't mentioned yet is that if you have, there you go. Thank you, Dylan. If you have made a purchase in the store over $20, we have given you 5 raffles already. So Phil, I don't know if you're aware, but Phil has 5 raffle entries. Jake Asman has 5, and Chef Kevin Gilbert has 5 already. But you can get in, even if you don't want to make a purchase in the store. Here we have this. Okay, so our drawing is going to be on May 2nd, 2025. You must be a subscriber to win. Okay, so please subscribe to the channel. You can send a $5 Venmo, for one entry into the raffle. It's at Jets Worldwide on Venmo. Please include your name in the Venmo donation. Johnny, I was told that we have to hold on. Just side note, I was told that we have to give people something if they do like give a Venmo or if they buy something from the store. So we have to think of something silly to do. We can just give them a shout out or something like that. But we'll definitely Johnny will be in charge of shout outs. So
Shout out to Phil. Shout out to Jake. And shout out to Chef Kev.
that's
And
it.
to Dylan, who just bought some stuff from the merch store.
Oh snap!
He's in it
Look
to
at
win
that.
it.
I have to like update my look at that. I'm gonna update my screen here. Hold on a second. Whoop.
And there's a lot of different things. I mean, a couple stuff that are in there that we wanted to go ahead and put in there. Summertime. It's summertime.
Right?
So you guys already know what time it is. But Snowball.
I just wanted to get back to this. Hold on, I got to finish this. So if you make a $20 purchase or more at the store, jetsworldwide.printify.me, that'll give you 5 entries into the raffle, and we're gonna spin the old wheel of misfortune on 5 to 25, but we'll have entries open until next week at the end of our show. So everything that you send, I'll get the Venmos. If you make a purchase, I'll keep track. But we're trying to get some people to be able to own this beautiful, beautiful ring.
It's amazing. I've seen it in person.
It's
heavy.
It is.
It's heavy,
It's heavy.
which is I was in shock. I was like, oh man, this is heavy.
Right? It was a nugget.
So shout out to Joe Namath. Thank you so much for giving us the ring. I think Dano might have
Oh, Genergy, the link is in the description of the video. So if you just click on the description of the video, the link is right there. So easy peasy.
and another thing too. We're gonna open up the phone lines for a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Right, because we are wanting to talk a little bit about the Aaron Rodgers situation.
Yep.
But I want to give a big shout out to somebody that's in the chat. For him, first and foremost, to share this. We appreciate you doing this and all that. This is amazing, by the way. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Shout out to Armand, who went ahead and said personal news. Last Saturday was my 3-year weight loss anniversary. When he started, he weighed 484.
Holy
He's
shit.
at 287.
Damn.
A total of 197 pounds. Chat, everybody that's in there, give it up to Armand. Please, 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 please do some fire emojis. That is amazing, amazing, amazing. Armand, keep it up, brother. I mean, keep going. We support you, man. This is huge news, amazing news in itself as well. This is cool, man. Yeah, clap it up for him.
Right?
You gotta clap it up for him.
That's amazing. That really is such a good thing for your health, such a good thing for your
100%.
body. Your family's probably happier. Everyone's happier. You're probably happier. So yeah, definitely. That's incredible.
I mean, look, you gotta get support, man. Shout out to Paganardi.
Right?
Even Mo Dean. Look at that. I mean, way to go. Badshaw, the big fella. You got Rich. I mean, Genergy.
Right?
This,
Yeah, he almost lost a whole big fella.
he
Did you see that?
he lost a whole big fella. I mean, everybody's up here just very impressed by that. It's showing a lot of love in regards to this. So this is amazing, man. Keep it up. I mean, even the Yeti Meister came on here and is showing some stuff. So that's huge, man. But
am I posting the link? Because Armand's usually the one who like jumps in here pretty quickly.
yeah, post the link. Let's
right.
let's get it in there. Let's pin it up.
That's what she said. And yes, let's get it in there.
So let's dig a little bit deeper in this conversation, Snowball.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Genergy we do. It's truly there.
We do have bikinis.
It's summertime. I mean, we're
I got to put the swim trunks in. Trunks. Is that what the kids call them now? Trunks? That's what we used to call them.
and our first guest of the night,
Afro.
Hello, boys.
Hello,
Mr.
boy. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Great.
Doing well. It's Friday night.
It's a
And
good
everything's all
evening
right.
tonight. Weather's so nice out here today in Jersey.
Yeah.
Hello, Armand.
How did what was the temperature over there today?
It was about 73.
Wow.
Ooh, it hit
It's gonna be
85
about
over
80.
here today.
It's going to be about 80, a little over 80 tomorrow.
Nice.
You're finally getting good weather.
And then it's going to
Not on
drop.
Long Island, though.
So, Afram,
Yes, sir.
I was waiting for Friday after yesterday, and I was like, I really wonder what Afram thinks about everything that's going on, and I really was looking forward to hearing from you. Okay,
On
I
which
I,
topic?
I always say that if you want to make the Jets better, Afram is
I
the
don't know
only
why.
individual that can save us. Okay. So you have this big giant meeting of two alpha males. Okay. Aaron Glenn, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers gets on the Pat McAfee show, starts talking about what occurred in this meeting, interview, whatever they want to call it. And it seems like Aaron Rodgers is emotional and upset. What's your thoughts in this? Was it handled right? Could have it handled been handled better? Thoughts?
I talk to you. I start with you. I finish with you. It ends there. I don't need to go on a show and become the pity guy. Oh, pity me. Look what they did to me. This, and that. If you're a man of character, you leave it alone. You don't need to air anything out. You know what I'm saying? Simple as that. But you have that venue that you can go on and say whatever you want, and everyone's going to believe you because the nature of people is to believe the negative before they don't know what happened. But I don't really care what happened. If he said, first of all, he's under contract, like you said, he's on the team at that point before they cut him, and they asked him, "You want to play football? You interested in playing football?" He just said, He should have said, "I'm already on the contract. I'm a Jet." Simple as that. Don't say I'm interested. You're on the team. You're the guy. You really wanted to play. You just said, "Hey, I'm assuming I'm still on this team, and I'm still the quarterback of this team." That's all you have to say, and then take it from there. But to say
He
I'm
knew it,
interested,
though. He knew it.
you're
He
not
knew.
going to wait for this guy to decide what he wants to do especially when you're under contract.
Yeah. Well, according to Aaron Rodgers, he doesn't hold any teams hostage. But he does hold teams hostage. Every time he holds teams hostage. So what are you going to do? I can't say that again. Financially, it was a good move. I wish he was more. Johnny, we're losing Afram or what?
Yeah, from you coming in and out. If you want, get out and then try to come back in, and we'll pull you right back on.
Yeah. So yeah, I can't say that wasn't a bad move. It's true. The guy was under contract. Are you interested in playing football? I'm interested. I don't know. Not nice. Respect the individual, but I don't know. Just the way he handled things was bad.
I this is tough, man, because like if I'm being 100% honest with you, I loved this made me okay. Everybody knows that I was a Flores guy. Okay. I was all about Brian Flores. That's who I wanted to be my coach. I was pounding the table for him. Myself, Jay, we were guys that were Flores, rah, 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 rah. It didn't happen. Glenn came in. I'm all on board with Glenn. I believe in him. I think that what he's trying to do is the way to go ahead and I'm going to be behind him. He's our coach. It is what it is now, right? I think it was
better?
handled
Yes.
perfect. I think.
And now it's not. Like, is this
Let me see,
better?
because I'm coming in. I see it in here. It's good, but
Yeah,
let's
you're
see.
a little laggy.
If you have any other like things opened up, you might have to close those.
Yeah.
If you do, I just think this. Look, for myself, Glenn, he ripped the Band-Aid off. I think there
Oh,
was
this is strange. Yeah, I don't know.
All right. Are we the only thing you have open, Afro?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me bring this down a bit here. Let me see
Maybe,
something.
maybe
I
if you
don't know
hold
if
your
it's
left
the.
arm up and bend it, sometimes that works.
Is it better now?
Mm,
Is it
no,
better now?
you're still choppy.
I mean, you're choppy, but we could hear you
We can
perfectly.
hear
No,
you.
to me, you can hear me, but you guys are coming in choppy to me. So I don't know where the breaks. See if you can bring someone on next to me, if anyone's on, and see if they're having the same issue.
No, nobody else
Could
wants
be
to come on next.
StreamYard as well.
Nobody wants to call in right
Nobody
now.
wants to
But
come
then
on
again,
next.
you had what's his name on before.
Dylan was good. Yeah. We
Again,
can still hear you. We can still hear you.
yeah, we can hear you, Afram. You're good.
Yeah.
I just think
Let me
again,
see.
like,
Let me come out and come back in again.
All right.
all right.
Sounds good.
All right, that's fine. Where were we at?
So I'm kind of talking in regards of the whole conversation right now with Glenn, and that I stand behind what Glenn did and the way he did it. I really believe that Glenn in his mind was like, okay, he's under contract, right? If he says it a certain way that I don't like, it's over with. That's it. And when you got somebody that asks you a yes or no question and you say, well, I'm interested, what are you trying to say? Like, what for what? And then now in that whole interview, he says, I got issues with this, I got that going on. I'm more worried about my personal life.
Mhm.
Was never talked about before. So, can you imagine the New York Jets going into this draft not knowing if we're having a starting quarterback, and we wouldn't be able to have the conversation of what positions we need to get? Because at that point, I would be like, I think we need a quarterback, and it would be a big giant reach for us. You know, look, I don't know, man. It's Afram.
It's a non-story to me. He
Exactly.
had something to say. He's on the show. He had something to say, and the bottom line, you're out of the picture. Everyone knew you were going to be out of the picture at this point. You know, so go on your own way. You do whatever you want to do at this point. There was no reason to keep him. There was nothing to gain by keeping him. It would be just delaying the inevitable, because if you kept him this year, all right, you got a little bit better record perhaps, but that's it. You think you can keep him when he's 44? You can keep him when he's
Exactly.
45? Keep him when he's 46?
No.
No. So you delay building this team back up. And basically you have him doing the same crap he did with the previous regime, right? He wants to
Thank
call the
you.
plays. He's done this, bringing this guy to. We're not. When you start to appease one guy, you lose the team.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, you lose the
But
team.
it didn't take long for toxicity to find its way to the Jets in this regime. Like, that was pretty quick.
Yeah,
We haven't even gotten to the
it's always
draft.
poor me, poor me, poor me. They wrote this thing. I never said this. I never said that. Blah 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 blah. Some go to
Yard
Pittsburgh,
debacle.
wherever you want. At this point, I really don't care.
Yeah.
I'm worried about Jets this year.
My
Me too.
man.
We all are. We're all concerned about the Jets this year. And every year for the past 15
Yeah,
years, we've been
past
concerned.
15. What are
Well,
we?
longer than that.
Yeah, past 40. So
Yeah. It's
it's
incredible. But well, this is hopefully the big turnaround, right? The
it's a
return of
start.
a player
Yeah,
as a head coach to the New York Jets, which is actually a pretty cool story when you think about it. Like, someone who is here taking over the team. I wish him the best. See what
Exactly.
happens.
that's
Yeah.
it.
He's on
I
the
was
team now.
Do you remember the strike game years ago when the league was on strike,
Mhm.
and then they started getting players? I went to one of those games that was still before they all ended the strike,
Mhm.
and believe it or not, I was interviewed by ABC News, and they said, "Is the same? This game is the same?" I said, "No, it's not the same, but whoever wears that jersey, that's my team. I'm not worried about whether it's a strike or not. You know, whoever puts on that jersey of my team, that's the one. That's who I'm rooting for. I couldn't care less at that point. You know, that's the strike is about business. The game is a game at this point, and that's what it is. You root for your team, or if you're going to root for your player, you can always root for that one player, all right, wherever they go. But you got to decide whether you're rooting for a player or for the entire team.
I don't know. I say once you leave the team, you're the enemy. So
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
exactly.
You're gone.
Absolutely.
That's it. Well, yeah. I was just about
Hello,
to say,
Phil.
look at this guy coming in.
Hey, Snowball,
Yes.
we got another person that just bought something. Big shout out to D Murphy.
Oh, damn, Murphy.
Dan Murphy.
Awesome.
Murph, what did
Very
he,
nice.
What did he buy?
I'm pretty sure you bought a tank top.
He
He's
bought
got
a
to
tank
show the
top?
guns.
Cool.
He's got to show the guns.
Got to show the guns. Yeah. All right. Cool.
I'm
Yeah.
Did you
putting
see
in-
my order?
Yeah,
I
what
put
are
in an order too.
Did you?
Oh, this is awesome. Let's go, guys.
Nice.
What you end up
Nice.
getting out from the bikini?
No, I already have one, so I just figured I'd go with the T-shirt.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I
Nice.
appreciate that, man.
Oh,
So, Phil, so let's get into it. Phil and I, we talked,
What's up,
right?
fellas?
And
What's up, fellas? Yeah.
I know he really did not want to talk about the Aaron Rodgers because I think he's on the same boat as Afram, right? So,
Yeah.
but I'm still going to ask, Phil, you
Yeah.
saw everything that came out. What's your thoughts on all of this?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like this has been the same way I've been feeling about this for a long time. You know, the only way to talk about Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, is to really go all the way back to the beginning and what camp you were in, right? I was never in the camp that wanted Rodgers in the first place. Once he was here, that's who I am. Like, I didn't want the Jets to bring him back this year, right? If they had, I would have rooted for him. When I signed him, I rooted for him. I never wanted him here in the first place. I've always felt like he was an egomaniac who was way, way too much trouble. As great as he was, I think sometimes people are just too much trouble. And he's one of those guys. Now, that's just my take, and everybody's got their opinion. But I was glad that they moved on from him. I know there was a lot of people that wanted to bring him back. And if they had, I would have been like, all right, man, it's my team. He's my quarterback. I'm going to be all in. But I got to be honest, I would have been 90%. I just never liked the guy. I never really wanted him. I'm way happier that he's not coming back. I'll deal with a mediocre quarterback. I'll deal with a less than optimum offense. And, you know, we've talked about this, Johnny Snowball. I've been on your show a couple of times. Like, everybody's got their opinion about the draft, who to take and what to do. And, like, nobody's right or wrong, I don't think. I'm not
Agreed.
saying I'm right. What I'm saying is this is a team that I think a couple of impact players on defense, we could have a top 10 defense. So for me, I'm all about, out of the first 3 picks, I want a couple of impact players on defense because I think we could be really good. On offense, I think as long as we're okay, if our quarterback can make plays with his legs that he can't make with his arm, if our offensive line is really good, if our running backs are good, you know, I think all I'm looking for this year is, man, give me 10 wins at a playoff berth and I'll be through the fucking moon. Like, that's where I'm at right now.
So true. We will be. We'll be through the roof, man.
And by
That's
the way,
crazy.
I bought the JWW shirt.
Yeah.
People, check the merch. The logo is fantastic. And I'm going to go see my dog. I was supposed to, you know, Johnny, you were just in New York this week. I was going to go up and it just didn't work with my daughter's schedule. So I'm going up next month. I'm going to show her the bikini. I'm going to buy her the damn bikini if she'll let me.
Hell yeah.
The Jets Worldwide bikini. My wife was like, "What the hell is that?" I said, you know, you never know. You never know.
I'm
Thank you.
not kidding, man. I love the logo. I think it's really cool.
Thanks. I made the logo to look like the draft cap. So like, you know, we started the new look this year, so kind of made it go along with the draft. So that was the thinking behind the logo.
The song's badass too.
Oh, the song.
Well,
You like the song?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate
I,
that.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like the fact that it's about it mentions you guys, so it's really you don't get that much because no one has the capability. But
Johnny's a great singer. I
yeah,
can't put it past him. He did a fantastic job on the intro. I'm on the outro. It's a little different, but
Outro is him.
we both had our, you know,
it's good. It was good. I like it.
Yeah, I was just about to ask if you were still there, Armand, because I can't see, you know, with the right now
I'm
it's just
here.
the logo showing.
Yeah, no, because I don't know if my
If
camera's
Badshaw's
causing
out there,
a delay or whatever. It seems my audio is still good.
Well, I'm glad you're still there. Like, if Badshaw's out there, anybody, like, call in, folks, because one of the things I love about this show is there's a lot of shows where people call in and they just kind of yell at each other. What I love about this show is people treat each other with respect. I've been on this show where there was 6 or 8 people on the screen, and everybody lets the other guy talk. When they're finished, the next guy talks. Even if they disagree without being disagreeable. I love that about this show.
We're respectful people. We try to be respectful. We were raised right, and I'm gonna stick to that. Johnny, I have to be going soon.
I know
You're going to be in control of the show, so you got it.
That might be a little bit dangerous.
I know. I'm handing the controls over to him, though.
If you got to call it a night, I get it. That's okay.
No, yeah, I have to go. Actually, let my my best friend. He's currently in WrestleMania right now. So yeah, I know he's in Vegas, and with his son, with my godson, and everything out there, and I'm in charge of letting the dog out. So I have to go and let the dog out. But guys, I really do appreciate your guys' take. You, Afram, and yourself, Phil. I really do. I really value it. And everybody in the chat that's been on here. And of course, my partner in crime, Mr. Snowball. Like, I want to give a really big shout out to everybody that we were able to see this weekend. It was a great time. Big, major shout out to Snowball. Snowball was amazing. You know, I've been out of New York for a while, so it was great to run into the city, you know, no issues, no nothing, and just be able to truly enjoy that atmosphere. Big shout out to Nate. Nate showed us New York in a different vantage view. And anybody that goes out to New York, right? Make sure you understand that the city bike is heavy. It is not like a regular light bike.
I'm going to tell the story. So Nate was nice enough to like swipe 3 bikes, right? Mm-hmm. He got himself a bike. He got Johnny a bike. He got me a bike. Johnny takes the bike out of the rack. No problem. Nate's got his bike. He pulls it out of the rack. I pull it out of the rack, and I don't know what I did. I turned some way or whatever, but forget it. I just went backwards. I flew backwards. The bike slams into me. And I'm like, damn, this is heavy. But I made a great recovery, though. I got back on that bike right away. They say, you know, if you fall off the horse, you got to get right back on it. So I jumped up in the air and I hopped on the bike and we flew off through Manhattan. Johnny, Nate, myself, flying through traffic. It was pretty insane. It was a lot of fun.
It was amazing. Shout out to the Badlands. Yes. The Badlands event was pretty awesome. Will, Joe, Connor. I mean, it was cool being able to meet them, speak to them, and kind of pick their heads too, because they've been doing it for a while, and
Right.
we're some young bucks just getting into the game. And
Matt O'Leary.
yeah, big shout out to Matt. Shout out to Jake.
Jake?
Finally met Jake as well. For myself and everything, it was a great time. It was awesome, man. I really, really look forward to doing that again, Snowball.
Jake
At
Quest.
some point. Jake, and big shout out to Jake Quest.
Jake
Jake
Quest.
Quest was our savior
He
at the end of the night.
drove us
okay?
home,
He
and
drove-
and I felt so bad because he was like, I like under his breath, like, they didn't even thank me. I thought I said thank you.
Yeah, I don't. I was so sleepy at that point,
We
but
had the sheriff on the train taking us home.
big shout out to Jay Quest, man. Jay Quest was a trooper. He was awesome, man.
Yes.
The funny story about Jay Quest knows my dad. He's known my dad for the longest time, and super small world. So Jay Quest is definitely one of the homies, man. Big shout out to him. And to the chat and to everybody on here as well. This has been awesome. And one last thing, I have to bring this up, guys. I have to bring this up. Okay, I love you, Scott. Scott knows it, so this is why I'm bringing this up. He says that Glenn looked weak, but this is coming from the vantage point of Aaron Rodgers. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's going to be Glenn's point, and then there's going to be the truth. If I'm going to be 100% honest with you, I do not think Glenn's going to come out and even talk about it, because he's like, for what? This guy's already off of my team. There's no sense. I got my quarterback. On to the next one. He was a
100%,
he was a Hall of Fame quarterback, but it wasn't with the Jets.
Yeah, but I understand Scott's point though. I'm just gonna say I understand that not that Glenn looks weak, but people will take notice. They will acknowledge the way he handled the situation. So to me, I don't think he looked weak. I think he looked like he was,
That's fine. And then when the draft's over, no one's going to talk about it. No one's going to care.
There you go, Afram.
100%.
True words, never spoken sooner.
Okay, that's what's going to happen.
To me, like, no, he didn't look weak at all. He looked very decisive. I think he asked one very straightforward question: do you want to play football? And if he had heard, yeah, man, I want this. If I want this, I want this, I want this, he would have listened. When he heard, I'm interested, he was hearing a guy saying, well, if you want to court me, you might be able to convince me, and he was like, you know what, fuck that. That's not what I'm interested in. So exactly. I'm with Glenn 100%.
Mm-hmm. Johnny, we sticking a fork in this one?
We are, man. Phil, always a pleasure, man. Next Friday, please, guys, call back. Afram, please, next Friday, call back in.
Yeah.
I really
we'll take everyone's opinion on who we drafted.
Correct. So it's going to be a really fun one. We do look forward to having other individuals come on here, or an angry one. Because can you guys imagine? And I'm just putting this out there. At 7, we draft Dart.
No, don't be Dan now. Don't be like Dan. Don't be talking like Dan.
I will be so pissed off. You guys will have never seen me as upset on this show as I will be on that show.
I agree with you. I don't think they even go for a quarterback in the whole draft.
I agree. I don't think they will as well.
I just can't wait for it to be over.
Agreed.
Before we go.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Phil, thanks, man. Thanks for everything. We love you.
We do,
Take
man.
care,
we love
Phil.
you, man.
Love you too.
Afram, you as well, man.
All right. Before we go, just to reiterate, the raffle is underway. We have Jake, Phil, Kevin, Dylan, Afram, and Dan. They're all in with 5 entries because of their purchases on the store. Thank you so much. It means the world to us. You can Venmo $5 per entry to @Jets Worldwide. It's all one word, so easy enough. The store is open. The raffle's going on, so someone is going to get this hunk of metal that is
Super Bowl 3.
Pretty freaking awesome. 7 stones, nameth everything. I mean, it's pretty awesome. So, worth the purchase at the store or worth the Venmo. All right. Anything else before we go?
Christopher, we appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. We're trying out here. Check out the merch store, everybody. This has been your Friday night flight with Jets.
Worldwide, wide. He just subscribed. Look at that. Awesome. All right. We're out of here. Have a great night, everybody. Enjoy the weekend. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Yeah. We started off as Titans, and now we're the Jets. The start of every season always starts with the sweats. Vinny T, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, what's the deal? Don't even try to tell me that the curse ain't real. We're coming for you, run, nothing high. Snowballing Johnny Boy, it's Jets worldwide. Why? Yeah, like and subscribe. But fumble, fail, Mary, choking Fitzpatrick. The end of every season is always tragic. Doug Bryant missed, everybody got pissed. Super Bowl seasons ended with just one twist. 15 years without the playoffs. Is Aaron Glenn legit? We're the friggin' New York Jets and we're built for the shit. We're coming for you real and high.